Welcome to another episode of Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson. And guys, finally, Kentucky is actually trying to make some moves in this NIL transfer era of new age professional college basketball. But it may be a little too late for this season, but at least we got something that we can look forward to for the next coming seasons. It would have been nice if we would have got this done earlier so that we could have been prepared for this offseason, because we missed a whole lot of guys that could have really helped strengthen this roster and give us a real legitimate shot, have me really feeling confident about next season. But we missed out. But to backtrack a little bit, I don't know if you guys can recall or not, but earlier in last season, Calipari and Mitch Barnhart kind of had a weird little exchange with each other. It kind of came out that they had a kind of a weird relationship where they wasn't seeming to get along. Of course, both of them denied it, but it was kind of obvious to a lot of people that was around both of them. They were seeing like they wasn't seeing eye to eye, wasn't really getting along. And it almost kind of seemed like Mitch Barnhart was kind of trying to block Cal from doing certain things. Seemed like maybe behind the scenes, a lot of people just kind of getting sick and tired of Cal, and they wasn't really trying to help. Calipari was trying to get some new facilities and different things like that. He was saying that, if you guys want him to be able to compete, then you got to upgrade his facilities and different things like that, because a lot of schools have caught up with Kentucky now in that department, where we used to have state-of-the-art equipment. Now it's kind of seeming like everybody is past us in that department. So he was actually, trying to get some support, and it seemed like everybody was just ignoring him. He had brought up this idea that he had a lot of his ex-players that's now super wealthy NBA players that was on board with donating some money to the school, giving back to Kentucky to try to help the basketball program. And when Mitch Barnhart was asked about it, he kind of just shrugged it off. I think he made a comment sort of along the lines of, he basically said, if I don't see it on paper, then it's pretty much bullshit. He said, he kind of was basically saying Calipari talks a lot, and, maybe there might be some guys interested, but there's nothing real here. But apparently it was a real idea. And now seemingly, and it's taking so long, but finally we may have a situation where we can actually start to compete again in this new era of basketball. Calipari has introduced his new NIL initiative called the Lafamilia Club, where he is apparently he's going to get a whole lot of his his ex-players and boosters and have a situation where they can donate money to try to help support the program. And it's apparent that we need it, because we have just been losing player after player after player in this transfer portal offseason. We had we had one of the best, if not the best, recruiting class on paper anyways that we've ever had. And during last season, a lot of people were just like, yeah, we struggling now, but next year is going to be our year because we got the guys coming in. And a lot of people was anticipating that certain guys would be on the roster, and we almost lost our whole entire team. We pretty much got, we got Onyenzo, we got Thero. That's pretty much the only guys that played last year, played at all, that actually are on the team. Pretty much everybody else is gone, whether it be guys like Case and Wallace, Toppin, Livingston, Sheetway, trying to, start their professional careers, or guys like Damian Collins, Lance Ware, Severe Wheeler, CJ Frederick, Antonio Reeves, probably transferring to try to get other opportunities at other schools. And, it's really had the fan base divided. Like we were stressing all year, there's a lot of fans that are just tired of Calipari and don't want him here. There's a lot of guys that are, upset with some of the players that don't really seem to be committed to Kentucky. And then there's fans that are hopeful, they're just going to ride and die no matter what. So it's been a whole lot of, division within the Big Blue Nation. And hopefully this will help to try to bring things back together, because we could have really had some key pieces that shored up our roster for this season. We could have had Hunter Dickinson, who was the #1 rated transfer player. He ended up going to Kansas. And some of that was probably due to he didn't know who was going to be returning to Kentucky. And then some of it apparently, or allegedly, I'll say, was money. And then you have, Keshawn Johnson. He ended up going to Arizona. Grant Nelson is pretty much what I'm hearing is he's going to Alabama. So it seemed like everybody was picking other places besides Kentucky to, get paid. And honestly, Kentucky's whole motto had been that we're Kentucky and, everything else will work itself out. You'll come to Kentucky, you'll play with top-notch talent, you'll practice, you'll get better, you'll work hard, and eventually you'll go to the NBA and you'll make all the money that you could ever dream of having. Well, a lot of guys now just ain't trying to hear that. Whether it be like just the market value of some of these players or, whatever the case may be, because there's no guarantees that you'll get to the NBA, even if you come to Kentucky. So a lot of guys just ain't trying to hear that right now. They want to get paid and they want to get paid now. So apparently Kentucky's finally on board. Like I said, we got to keep up with some of these other schools. And even like if you can switch over to football and you can look at like places like Georgia, they spend a whole lot of money in NIL and they shoring up the roster. And they making sure that they're going to be able to compete at a high level for the next coming years. I think a lot of coaches, guys like Nick Saban and different coaches like that were used to just having players lining up, begging to come to their schools. I think it kind of has been difficult for some of them. Calipari's probably one of them because he never really used to have to battle with, schools like Kansas State and, different things like that. He used to could just walk in and say, I'm Coach Calipari. This is Kentucky. You should be happy to be here. But those days are over, obviously. But like I said, I'm excited to see what they can do. The only thing that really kind of is disappointing is I feel like if they would have got this together earlier, if we would have had this Lafamilia initiative ready as soon as the season was over, we probably would have a really strong roster right now. And I would be 100% confident that we would have a strong team. And right now, I just don't really know. Kind of seems up in the air. But anyways, Kentucky's back, so we'll see what happens. But you guys let me know what you think about the La Familia initiative. Do you think it's going to help Kentucky? Do you support it? Or do you just not like the idea of NIL anyways? Let me know what you think about the transfer situation and the NIL in general. And we'll get back at it next time on Sports and Discourse with Derek Stevenson.